How's it going? It's Brian Soscia here again, another WWE exclusive. Of course, they're always so good to us, and it's just a pleasure to have this superstar, this diva, visiting with us. Of course, former PWI Rookie of the Year, that's big. Former NXT champion, current WWE Divas champion, it's Charlotte Flair. What's going on?
Hey, Brian. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Anytime. You know that. You can always check in, visit with us. Everyone likes to see what's going on with you. And as I said, a lot of WWE exclusives. I feel like we've had everybody on, but this is your first time, so you're like a first-timer. I mean...
Well, I'm glad to be the first time.
Phenomenal. And the first thing I want to talk about, though, is, growing up, as a kid, memories of wrestlers. I mean, you were around it your whole life. Do you remember your dad coming around with wrestlers? What were your thoughts as a kid?
The answer is almost too simple to even say, but honestly, I didn't think anything of it. I was born into it, so it wasn't. There wasn't a moment where my dad wasn't a wrestler. So I never took the time to really think about it, and not that I took it for granted.
You're just used to it.
It was just always there. I didn't really care that much, but just because it's it's my dad. This is what he does. Not like my brothers, on the other hand, this was something that they wanted to do. So obviously, my younger brother traveled with him, and then my older brother got into it WCW, and then my little brother got into the independent scene. But for me, I was just there.
You were doing your thing.
Yeah.
It was the norm for you. I understand that. For us looking in, it's like, wow, her dad's this major star. But for you, he's just dad. And I think that's pretty cool. I'm glad you see him that way. It'd be weird if you didn't. How about David? You talk about David Flair, your brother. How's he doing? What's he up to nowadays?
Oh, well, he watches with his two kids. He's still in North Carolina. Cool. And he'll message me or text me on a Monday night.
That's cool. What's he giving you advice and stuff?
Well, actually, first at NXT, when I first started, he was just so, wanted to give me so much advice because he'd been through it and a lot of the struggles, because my older brother was basically just thrown into it. No experience, nothing. He was just thrown on television.
Okay.
And me and David are similar in our personalities, and I'd say my little brother and my big sister are more like. Not that me and David are more sensitive, but, being compared to my dad and not knowing what to do. And then do you woo, do you not woo? David had the blonde hair. He could talk to me a lot because I'd be like, Dave, I don't feel like this, or what should I do? Or so he'll just text me. Are you dating him? Or something stupid.
I love it. Do you feel that, and be honest about this, it's fine. Do you feel that you have it harder because your last name is Flair? Or do you try to put that out of your mind and just prove yourself?
Oh, I kind of go in waves, to be honest, because one day it'll bother me and then one day it won't. But as of right now, how they put my dad with me, he's kind of my manager right now.
Yes.
As I'm making the transition to being a heel, it's kind of, some days I'm like, why is everyone oh, she's just her dad, or she's doing this, or she's doing that? It's well, he's my dad. It's I don't, and then I'm then they're oh, she does his moves, but it's a million people do his moves. Mm-hmm. It's just not noticeable because he's not his daughter. So it's a mixed blessing, but as I get more confident and as I, get further along in my career, I tend to let these things not bother me as much.
The figure eight, not the same moves as your dad. It's an updated move, which I think is cool that you just didn't stick with the same one. You changed it up a little bit. Now, was that your idea? Who gave you that idea to do the figure eight?
Okay, so in developmental, or NXT is its own brand now, but just in practice one day, I asked my coach, Sara Del Ray, can you show me how to do the figure four? And she was yeah, but she just kind of chuckled because it's why hasn't, you'd think that my dad would teach me. No, but we were just messing around with it, and then I figured out that I could bridge in it.
Okay.
So then Simon Gotch, who's part of the Vaudevillains, one of the most creative individuals I've ever met, was you should call it the figure eight because it's twice as good. And I was oh, that's it. So it just kind of happened. But to be honest, I didn't even use the figure eight in NXT. That didn't come around until I debuted. I had a different finish at NXT. Just kind of evolving as a character.
Yeah, and I think that's the key. I mean, look at guys like The Undertaker, like that stay on top. It's always a constant evolution. You obviously know that, so I can see how far you're going to go. We have Charlotte Flair on the phone talking about SmackDown's big move to the USA Network. They might as well rename the USA Network WWE USA. I mean, they're taking over. They've got their shows in there. It's true. And
they are taking over.
I mean, truly. Hey, listen, speaking of taking over, when you guys try to take over the Divas division, it was Team P.C.B. now, but it used to be, for a minute anyway, it was Submission Sorority or something like that, and then you guys went and changed it. What was the reason for that? I mean, I think I know, but I'm not sure.
I think there were some issues with the name.
Submission Sorority. I can see. Never mind. All right. Now that you're saying that, I can see why there would be.
I mean, you type that in on the computer, you don't know what's coming up. You Google that. That could be some weird stuff there.
I guess that means.
I mean, the three of us do look like we would have been a part of a sorority.
No, I thought that too. I like Team P.C.B. better. I like Team P.C.B.
I think we were all independent.
Well, yeah, I mean, we can tell that now. Well, actually, while I'm thinking about that, it just popped in my head.
Would you ever consider doing Playboy if somebody asked?
Probably not.
Would your father allow this? I know you're an independent woman and all, but come on. I wouldn't if I thought I'd go nuts.
I really don't. I mean, it would really have to be something I would really want to do. If you could put me on Sports Illustrated, just because I think I don't even think my dad would think just because of the brand that I want to be.
Okay.
I don't know. But if I was like, Dad, I want to be on Playboy, this is a dream of mine, I'm sure he would.
I get that.
Support me, whatever.
I get that. I get that from your father. You can tell he's very supportive. And before I let you go, that reminds me of something else. And I hope you get on the cover wherever you want. I don't care if it's Mad Magazine. Wherever you want to be, I want you on the cover. I hope it's not Mad Magazine.
Thank you so much.
But I want to tell you a quick story about your father. Years ago, after a show, I was in a bar
with two of my best friends. You know, I have a whole crew of friends. This is two of the best ones I have. Synergy Yet Sexy, we call him Steve Canavo. Robbie Lee Roth, the Rob.
Who strolls in but your father? I guess WWE was in town. Here comes your dad, walks in, sits down next to us, and we start talking about, like, other sports. We're not even talking about wrestling. 2 hours later, we're sitting there with your dad. He's buying us drinks, calling us Junior Horsemen. It was like we owned the bar. Nobody else was there. He bought us triple shots each.
Junior Horsemen.
Check it out. I mean, we were having a good time. Triple shots of Jack Daniels, triple shots of Kamikaze. 2 hours just hanging out with your dad, BSing. He's like, you remind me. He was talking about all the hot spots in Philly back in the day. Point is, the other thing you talked about a lot was his kids, and I mean this. He was so proud of you guys. He couldn't brag enough about you guys. I knew of your brother. I knew of both your brothers, of course, Dave, but I knew about Reid, too, before a lot of people did. And I knew about you because your dad couldn't say enough good stuff about you. And
personal experience like that I had with your father, Rick, that's why it excites me to see him on television with you because it seems like it means a lot to him. I'll bet you he's having a blast, didn't he?
Oh, gosh. He is so funny. Like, when we do interviews, he says that his proudest moment of his entire wrestling career was me winning the Night of Champions against Nikki. He is. I know my dad has done a lot, seen a lot, been on news outlets for numerous different things. But the one thing is, my dad is an amazing dad.
You could tell. He's got a very special place for his family and his kids. Matter of fact, when he was talking to us, I think, I'm sorry, and don't take this the wrong way, I lost track, but your mother, I'm not sure what her name is, you don't have to say it, but I think he was, it's Beth, your mother?
Yeah.
I felt bad. I think we held him up from calling her because he kept talking to us. He had the chef come out.
That wasn't the first time.
Well, he had the chef come out of the kitchen. And we watched him. It's not a gimmick. The guy was like ready to give $50 bills to the chef to give him the best steaks, filet mignon, it was crazy. It was like he's living life like you see on TV, and he was the nicest guy. So your dad's doing a lot for you. Hey, he did a lot for us. Got me and my friends drunk legally. We were 21. He made sure we had rides home and all, so he did take care of that. Point is, he's a great guy, and I loved hanging out with him and being ordained a Junior Horseman, Matter of fact, I'll still get like gag gifts and presents, maybe like a bottle of Jack Daniels, and you look at the card, you open it up, and you see it's written to a Junior Horseman.
I can't wait to go back and tell him, Dad, you never called me a Junior Horseman.
He said he was going to put some hair on our chest, and I remember I had water for a chaser because I couldn't do this. I'm not a man. I don't have any hair on my chest. And he took my water and he poured it out in my soup bowl. He goes, you don't need that. Get a Miller Lite down here. I said, all right, Rick, woo, let's do it.
Yes, sir. her.
Yeah, that's what it was
so
like.
Awesome.
That's what it was like. It's a great story. I feel very honored to have spent a couple moments with your dad, and I feel honored to have spent some time with you, and I wish you nothing but luck. SmackDown's big move Thursday night. It's going to be on the USA Network, and it's going to remain there, so that's going to be like your one-stop shop other than the WWE Network for $9.99, USA Network, to see all the stuff you want to see.
Well, Charlotte Flair, thanks for visiting with us today, getting beneath the mat.
Thank you very much, and thanks for having me today.
Come on, you kidding me? It's my pleasure. I'll tell you what, my people talk to your people or whatever they say. I don't know. But my point is, we'll do lunch or I'll set you up with another interview and we'll chat again soon. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Please do.
Sounds good. Oh, and last order of business, I'm at the TheBrian Soscia at the Brian Soscia or at BTM Wrestling, whatever you want to do. We'll talk more. You want to hit us with your Twitter real quick, Charlotte?
At Miss Charlotte WWE.
There you go. If you didn't know about it, now you can all Twitter stalk Charlotte Flair. Thank you, Charlotte.